All right, welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most amazing machines out there. We're diving right under the hood to really understand that brilliant, fiery process that gets you from point A to point B every single day.
It really does seem like magic, doesn't it? How can just a little bit of liquid move a massive piece of metal? Well, it's not magic, it's just incredible engineering. And at its heart, it's all about a series of thousands of perfectly timed, tiny explosions happening every single minute you're on the road.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the big picture, how a car gets moving at all. Then, we'll check out its core anatomy. After that, we dive right into the engine's fiery heart, see the systems that keep it from destroying itself, and finally, we'll compare the two main engine types you see out there, gasoline and diesel.
Okay, first up, the big picture. Before we get into all the specific nuts and bolts, let's just get a feel for how all the pieces work together to turn that potential energy, the fuel in your tank, into kinetic energy, which is just the car physically moving down the road.
This is the absolute perfect way to think about it. The engine creates all the power, just like your heart pumps blood. But a heart can't do anything by itself, right? It needs the rest of the body. Well, it's the same exact thing here. The engine is absolutely crucial, but it's just one part of a much bigger team.
So let's build on that idea and take a look at the car's anatomy. A modern car is really just a collection of super sophisticated systems, and they're all talking to each other, working together in perfect harmony to give you a smooth, powerful, and controlled ride.
And here are the major players on that team. You've got the transmission. That's kind of like the gears on a bicycle, right? It chooses the best gear for either power or speed. The drivetrain, that's like the bike's chain. It gets the power to the wheels. All of these systems are critical, but today we are zooming in on the source of it all, the engine.
All right, now we're getting to the good stuff. We are going inside that metal block where simple fuel and air are transformed into raw mechanical force. This is the absolute core of the entire operation.
And here's its official name, the Internal Combustion Engine, or ICE for short. And the name tells you exactly what it does. Internal because the burning, the combustion, happens deep inside the engine itself. Pretty straightforward, right?
So before we see how it all works, let's meet the cast of characters. Think of the cylinders as the stage for a play. The pistons are the main actors, moving up and down. And everyone else, the valves, the spark plugs, the crankshaft, they're the critical supporting cast, making sure every single move is timed to perfection. And really, that's what this is, a high-speed, high-precision dance. It's a four-step sequence that repeats itself so incredibly fast that it feels like one continuous flow of power. And this little dance is the absolute key to understanding how your car moves.
And here it is, that four-step dance. It's often called the four-stroke cycle. A lot of mechanics have a simple way to remember it. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. First, intake. The piston moves down and sucks in that mix of air and fuel. Next, compression. It moves up and squeezes that mixture really, really tight. Then comes the bang, the power stroke. A spark plug ignites the mixture, causing a tiny explosion that violently shoves the piston back down. That is the moment that creates the power to move your car. And finally, exhaust. The piston moves back up, pushing or blowing the used-up gases out. Now imagine that. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow, happening thousands of times every minute in each cylinder.
So as you can imagine, thousands of explosions per minute inside a sealed metal box, well, that's going to generate an incredible amount of heat and friction. Seriously, without some critical backup systems, the engine would literally melt itself down in just a few seconds. These systems are the engine's unsung heroes. The lubrication system is its lifeblood, circulating oil everywhere to keep all those metal parts from grinding themselves into dust. The cooling system is like the engine's sweat glands, carrying away all that intense heat to stop a meltdown. And the exhaust system, it's the lungs, safely and quietly breathing out all the waste gases from the combustion process.
Okay, so everything we've talked about so far has been focused on a standard gasoline engine. But I'm sure you've heard of its close cousin, the diesel engine. They both use that same four-stroke cycle, but their recipe for getting that bang is just a little bit different. So the single biggest difference comes down to how they start the fire. A gasoline engine, as we saw, needs a spark plug to get things going. A diesel engine, though, it does something else. It uses pure, brute force pressure. It squeezes the air inside the cylinder so intensely that the air itself becomes incredibly hot, hot enough to instantly ignite the diesel fuel as soon as it's sprayed in. No spark plug needed. And because it compresses so much more, it wrings more energy out of every drop of fuel. That's why diesel engines usually have more low-end power, or torque, and tend to be more fuel efficient.
And, well, there you have it. We started with a pretty simple question. How does a car even move? And we've uncovered this incredibly elegant, ridiculously powerful mechanical dance. It's a symphony of moving parts, controlled explosions, and just brilliant engineering that most of us rely on every single day.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The internal combustion engine truly shaped the world as we know it today. But as we look to the future, with all sorts of new technologies on the horizon, you just have to wonder, what revolutionary new engine, what new kind of controlled explosion is waiting just around the corner to define our future? Definitely something to think about.